Good afternoon, everybody. Joe Pal Martin the Metalhead here. I hope you're going well. Today, it is... What am I thinking? Yeah, it's the 3rd of October 2024. And so, happy Rosh Hashanah to all followers of Jewish faith. I've been celebrating a bit of Rosh Hashanah by eating apples and honey to honor my Jewish ancestry. But the biggest exciting thing that's happening in my life is that I am seeing Dream Theater for the 8th time at the O2 on the 20th of October 2024, so in 2 and a bit weeks' time. This will be the first time that I've seen Dream Theater in London, and it will have been my 8th Dream Theater gig after seeing them in Sydney, Birmingham, Bratislava, Trondheim, and Warsaw. So it's like how it's been 16 years since I first saw Dream Theater at the Horde in Sydney, and in the time I said 8 times, so like 8, 16, that's not really like a time signature, right? So everything is going to be totally tight under wraps, but I've checked set lists from the 30th anniversary tour and the 20th anniversary tour, and so I really think that the band might play a set list that is pretty much just from We're Dreaming Day Unite all the way up to present time. But then we've got to factor in the times that Mike Portnoy was in the band. So there will have to be stuff off Dramatic Turn of Events, Dream Theater, that awful album, The Astonishing, which I've never listened to, Distance Over Time, and View from the Top of the World. That they have to incorporate songs from that era, even though Mike Portnoy wasn't behind the kit. But it's like they do play stuff from the first album, but that's quite rare. The only times I've remember that Dream Theater have performed songs off the first album would be on the Budokan when they played It's Only a Matter of Time, or on the 20th anniversary when they played The Afterlife, and also on the 30th anniversary they also started the set with Afterlife. So I'm gonna fire on my laptop right now and put in my predictions about like what songs I hope to hear on this 40th anniversary. Now, since Mike Portnoy is back in the band will be changing set lists every now and then, because since he's left, the last few Dream Theater tours has just been the same set list from start to finish all throughout the tour, no changing whatsoever. Although when I saw Dream Theater in Bratislava, it was a different set list to what they played in Trondheim, because in Trondheim they played Scene from a Memory in full. I would like to think that the band would start the gig off something new, like a brand new song that has not been released, that has never been heard before, off the upcoming 16th album. So I was put in start will be off unknown song off the 16th album, because they have to play something off the upcoming album just to surprise us all. Okay. I would also like to think, because it's the 40th anniversary, they might do something from the Majesty days, because on the 20th anniversary they played Another One, which was a song that can only be heard off the Majesty demos, and if you've got one of those Majesty tapes, you're a really lucky person. I remember Matt Mura from Mortal Sin was lucky to get one of these tapes. He claimed to be the first ever Dream Theater fan because Mike Portnoy wrote to him in Australia and asked for a copy of Mayhem Destruction, and then he gave him a copy of the Majesty demos, and this was before Majesty had to change its name to Dream Theater. So I'm kind of thinking I'm guessing Another One, because that was played on the 20th anniversary, so I'm just going to type that in. Another One. Now, the first proper Dream Theater album came out in 1989 on Mechanic Records. It didn't fare any well. Like, I do have a copy of it at home in Australia, but it's quite memorable because it's the early album that featured Charlie Dominici, and he was much older than the other guys in Dream Theater, and he did write songs off that album. So I would predict The Killing Hand. The Killing Hand is an epic song off that album. Has been played live since maybe the 90s, so I'll put that in as The Killing Hand. Okay, now Images and Words. I saw Dream Theater when they performed Images and Words on the 25th anniversary in full. When Dream Theater was doing the 30th anniversary, they just played Metropolis Part 1. When they were doing the 20th anniversary, they did Metropolis Part 1 as well as Surrounded. So I like to think they would play an obscure song off that album. They've done Learning to Live, which is like my favorite song off the album, but I'd like to think they would do Wait for Sleep. So I'm going to put Wait for Sleep as well as maybe Another Day, because that was featured on the live scene from New York where they had the saxophonist from Spyro Gyra, like Jay Birkenstein, if you're getting something wrong. So I'm going to say Wait for Sleep and Another Day. Now, the third album was Awake. I would like to think they would do 6 O'Clock, which is a really good song, or The Mirror, which is an early part of Mike Portnoy's Alcoholics Anonymous Suites, which he wrote that before he became properly sober. I don't think they would do any of the Mike Portnoy's Alcohol Anonymous suites on this tour. I would just basically think Mike Portnoy, after he left the band, he performed that suite in full on his own tour. So that's Mike Portnoy's own thing. But I'd like to say, I'm thinking 6 O'Clock or The Mirror or Space Divest, because they played Space Divest for the first time after 20 years in 2014 tour, because it was the 20th anniversary of Awake, and Space Divest was never played live out of respect for Kevin Moore, because that was his song. So I would like to hear that song, Space Divest, so I'm going to put that down. Now, Falling Into Infinity, the fourth Dream Theater album, didn't really fare too well because that guy who wrote songs with Bon Jovi and Cher, his name will come to my head, but he rewrote You Not Me with John Petrucci, and it really upset Mike Portnoy, and that's why Mike Portnoy evenly broke up Dream Theater, because of the way the record label was screwing with him. For that album, I've heard Peruvian Skies live and A Hollow Years live on previous tours. I'd like to think New Millennium, and I do know that on the Live at the Budokan, John Mayung did play a Chapman stick on one of the songs off of this album, so I'd be totally surprised if John Mayung brings a Chapman stick on this tour. So I'm just going to put down New Millennium off that album. Now, Scene from the Memory Part 2, really fabulous concept album. The first time I saw Dream Theater, they played The Spirit Carries On in 1928 over tune. Then in 2014, they played like a few of those songs off that album. Then for the 20th anniversary in 2019, they played the whole album in full. I would like to think they would probably do Finally Free, 1928 Overtune, and Dance of Eternity, because they are like quite staple in Dream Theater songs. So I'm gonna put down Dance of Eternity, because that is a staple, as well as Finally Free, and The Spirit Carries On. It's a really shorter song. It's not like a longer song, so I'll put The Spirit Carries On. Now, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. When Dream Theater did the 20th anniversary, they played 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence in full, along with Octavarium, because that was two of their longest songs. They did that for the encore before doing Metropolis Part 1. I've heard this things, Solitary Shields, twice on tour. They played that on the last tour, and when I saw them in Sydney in 2009. This is an album, honestly, that I have never really touched in my life. I never bought it. I'm just gonna have to go on Wikipedia now to refresh my aging memory. Is it like the album is now 22 years old? So, and also, surprisingly, it was their longest album until they made The Astonishing. Okay, so I'm gonna pick. I think The Great Debate. The Great Debate. I mean, that's a song. I don't think that has been played live many times before. I know Mike Portnoy has done the Glass Prison in and out of Dream Theater, and they played Solitary. As I said, they played Solitary Show, which is a part of 6 Degree of End of Turbulence. That's IV, number 6. So I just put. I'll put Disappear or The Great Debate on my list. Now, Train of Thought was the 7th Dream Theater album. Came out 21 years ago in 2003, and every time I listen to it, I just feel the band was really pissed off because, well, I remember they toured with Queensryche and Jeff Tate was being a bit of a douchebag, and the guitarist of Queensryche, Mike Stone, tried to give tips to John Petrucci. Yeah, trying to give John Petrucci guitar tips. So I've heard As I Am live 3 times in Sydney, for the first time I saw Dream Theater, in Birmingham, and also in Slovakia. So I really don't want to hear As I Am again, because I feel like it's been overplayed. A song I would really love to hear off that album is Honor Thy Father. I have a really, that's my favourite song off the album because, at my point I wrote that song about his bad relationship with his stepfather, and I know that sounds like James Brady is a bit of rapping in the middle and all, but it's not really new metal, so I'm just going to put down Honor Thy Father. I know it has been played live back in 2005 in Chicago, but it hasn't been played live in years, or maybe under 2 decades. So put that as Honor Thy Father. The 8th album, Octavarium. Okay, I would love it if Dream Theater were to play Octavarium as maybe an encore, because it is a 22 to 24 minute song. But also, because Octavarium coincided with the 20th anniversary Dream Theater, they played The Root of All Evil. And I remember when I saw Dream Theater for the first time in 2008, they played Panic Attack. So Root of All Evil, Panic Attack, it's been played a few times. I'm going to go check Wikipedia. Train of Thought. So Octavarium, I would definitely love to see Octavarium in the set list. I know it's a long song, but think about it. Dream Theater is playing for 3.5 hours. It's an evening with Dream Theater. No, opening acts, I guess. Maybe something obscure would be Sacrifice Songs that was written... Sacrifice Sons. That was written about 9/11, around the time. So it was written by James Brace, but that's a 10-minute song. So I'm gonna predict maybe Octavarium, or Sacrifice. Now for Systematic Chaos, the 9th album, I remember when that came out. I really would like to hear Constant Motion. I have heard that song back in 2008, and I think that was also played on the 30th anniversary tour. Hasn't been played in years, but when I saw Dream Theater in 2017 Birmingham, they started off with The Dark Eternal Night, which was the second time I'd heard that song live. So I'm gonna, and In the Presence of Enemies is a two-part song, it's totally up for 20 minutes, which has been played like live. I just think maybe stick to Constant Motion. Constant Motion. Or, and also maybe, there's another favorite song off that album, which is part of My Portnoy's Sobriety Suite, and it also features spoken words by some of his friends like Corey Taylor and Mikkel off Opeth. So, I'd say maybe Repentance. Yes, I know I did think that they might not do anything of My Portnoy Suites, but Repentance is a nice song, so I'm gonna put that to the Repentance. Then we go to the 10th album, Black Clouds and Silver Lining. They played the Count of Tuscany as the encore the last time I saw them. They played A Nightmare to Remember twice. That was my solo in Bratislava and in Norway. They also, when I saw Dream Theater in 2009, that was around the time the album came out, so they did do 2 songs off that album, as well as A Rite of Passage. A Rite of Passage hasn't been played since Mike Portnoy left the band, so I'm going to predict A Rite of Passage. I don't think Mike would want to play The Best of Times because that's about his father, and that was like never played live because it was really a set song. And then Mike Portnoy left the band a year later. So I think because it is 40 years, they might add that, I guess, just to pay homage to the parents and all. Because, Mike Portnoy has written songs about both his parents passing away, which was like his mother died in 1984 in a plane crash, which inspired A Change of Season. Now, the reason why I'm not predicting they're going to play A Change of Season because they played on the 25th anniversary of Images and Words, because that song was actually supposed to be a part of that album, but then the record label was like, no, you're not going to put out 2 CDs, or you have to shorten the length of the album, so that's why A Change of Season became an EP. A Change of Season was also played in like on the Live Scenes from New York album, so I don't really see it being played this time. So, but I'm gonna think. Alright, let's put down A Rite of Passage, and then also maybe The Best of Times / Now then we enter the Mike Mangini era of Dream Theater, which, to be frank, I did not buy when Dramatic Turn of Events came out. I just didn't buy it. I wasn't the first to buy it. I just didn't really know how to react to like Mike Mangini. But then it took me a couple of years, and I actually did buy the self-titled Dream Theater album. So I have heard a few songs off Dramatic Turn of Events. I'm not really a big fan of the album. Although when I saw Dream Theater in Birmingham, they played Breaking All Illusions, which I clearly remember has parts of a Gibran poetry, so that kind of did inspire me to go visit Gibran's tomb in Lebanon. So I'm going to think how about On the Back of Angels? Simple, On the Back of Angels. On the Back of Angels. Now for the self-titled Dream Theater album, I would like to see Mike Portnoy play the Enigma Machine because that's an interesting instrumental piece. There has to, they've got to do some sort of instrumental songs in the set list. Maybe Yitzy Jam, which was actually done. I think I remember Yitzy Jam was featured in the Budokan album in Japan in 2004. But I have heard the Enigma Machine when I saw Dream Theater in 2014. So, along with The Enemy Inside and Looking Glass, uh, as well as, I think I do remember Illumination Theory was played live. I'll have to check up set lists. But let's think that. I'm just going to put down the Enigma Machine, okay? This is an instrumental off the album. Now, the dreaded album, which I never listened to, I never really wanted to buy at all, was The Astonishing. It just didn't appeal to me when it came out 8 years ago. They have played some of these songs live in 2017 on the 20th anniversary, but the only thing was they played the whole album live in 2016. So I probably only listened to this album once, maybe 7 years ago, and it just, I know, I remember the song Our New World. That was, on Act 2. That was played in Birmingham when I saw it. I was going to do a quick prediction. I don't think they will bother doing anything from The Astonishing, no offense. That's just my thing. So I'll just say they will skip. They'll skip anything from the Astonishing. Okay. Now then we go to the most recent two albums of Dream Theater, which was Distance Over Time. Some of the songs were played live when I saw them in 2019 and 2020, like Untethered Angel and At Wit's End and Pale Blue Dot. I think a good song to play live off this album would be Barstool Warrior. That's just my prediction, because I mean, it has been played live before, along with like Pale Blue Dot, Untethered Angel, but also Fall Into Light is about 7 minutes long. So I'm gonna say Fall Into Light and Barstool Warrior. Now, from the most recent Dream Theater album, A View from the Top of the World, I would basically think the song A View from the Top of the World is at least 20 minutes long. Yeah, it's 20 minutes long. That has been played live, and because that was the last time I saw Dream Theater, they played a few songs on this album. They did the Alien the last tour and Answer the Call. To be frank, I think they might not play anything off this album. They might just basically say, well, we're like the Mark 4 of Dream Theater, we're the classic lineup from 1999 to 2010. So we're probably going to like disregard anything of the Mike and Genie era. So I predict there won't be anything played off of View from Top of the World, even though that's the recent album. Maybe Dream Theater will probably have to play 2 or 3 new songs off the upcoming album to promote it, even though no information has been announced. So it would just be like just a highlight saying, well, this is what's going to be on the latest album. So today's to prove that I am in the present moment. It is the 3rd of the 10th, 2024. I'll come back on the 21st of the 10th, 2024 to see if my predictions were right or wrong. So wish me luck, fingers crossed. And it's going to be quite It's going to be quite an interesting tour because I do believe they'll have to change the set list from gig to gig because that's what Mike Portnoy used to do because Mike Portnoy knew fans would travel around a lot, so he just says, oh, people travel to different gigs, so why give them the same set list? It's the songs I hear in London, they'll probably have different songs from maybe Paris or Portugal. Anyway, Martin Metalhead, over and out.